Hello folks, how are we doing? So, today we're going to be looking at the fashion sense and style of Stardew Valley characters. I was tempted to try and tier list this video, but I decided to just go, you know what, let's just talk about them. I'm a big fan of Stardew Valley. I've been a big fan of Stardew Valley for about 3 or 4 years now. I spent a lot of time in 2022 just playing a lot of it, either with some friends or on my own. I'm just a big fan of the series. I have stolen this video idea, kind of, from a creator called Clover Girl. She did some ones on Devil May Cry and on Pokemon. I think the video should be on screen now. And I was just a massive fan of the format. Like, it's very casual, it's very chilled out. It's just kind of, let's have fun and let me just chit chat about something that I enjoy. And for that are two things that I like. I do a bit of fashion journalism, so this style is something I'm interested in. I know you might not believe that, as I'm wearing the same black jumper for like the last 3 videos now. And the second thing, like I say, for Stardew Valley, I'm a massive fan of that game. So, let's crack on. We're going to be starting with Abigail. Now, Abigail's style, if I had to describe it in one word, would be individualistic. Bright purple hair, nice blue jacket, black top. This is like goth emo phase in Stardew Valley. Obviously, she stands out quite a fair bit. No one else really dresses like her that much. But I think that really suits her character. She's very much stands on her own, does her own thing, doesn't really care for any judgment. I'm just a big fan of Abigail's style. I think it's very cool. That's how I describe it. Next up, we have Alex. Alex seems to be your typical sort of sports bro in the way that he dresses and also kind of the way that he acts. He's got the ruffled hair at the top there, a varsity jacket, blue t-shirt. It's very much sort of jock vibes is how I describe Alex. I think it's a bit too simplistic. I think it would have been nice for a few little extra things on the jacket, or maybe just the colour scheme. I'm not a big fan of green, like bright green personally. I think it's a little bit overbearing. It does work for Alex, but I'm just not a big fan of it anyways. So, comme ci, you know? Now, Caroline. I said that I wasn't a big fan of green, however, her hair is brilliant. And it suits her incredibly well. The green hair, the green eyes, the blue sort of cardigan thing she's got going on there. This is, when I think of like Stardew Valley designs, she's kind of what I think of, like this is kind of the vibe of the game. I think they've smashed it completely with Caroline's design here. If I had to say an improvement of it, I mean, I think they've got the jewellery, they've got the little, I say they pretty much smashed it. I can't think of many improvements. Maybe sort of a more obvious jewellery around her neck. It seems she's got a necklace on when you zoom in, but you can't really see it outside of that. That's probably the only thing I would change for her design, but apart from that, I'm a big fan of it, so yeah. I mean, one of the reasons why I chose this game is that all the designs pretty much are fantastic. There are a few that I'm not a fan of, there are a few that I'm very much not a fan of, but most of them are like really, really good. I think the art style of Stardew Valley was also kind of like got really popular as well. It's very pixel art in a world where there's so many AAA titles pushing the boundaries of graphics, and that's like their main thing is graphics. You've got this cute little indie game that is amazing to play, you can sink loads of time into it, it's not very expensive, and it's just a good time, and I think that's what Stardew Valley kind of stands for, and what the character design also stands for as well. Sort of finding beauty in simplicity is sort of how I describe it. Speaking of designs that I don't like, I fucking hate Clint's design. I think it's god-awful. I mean, Clint as a character I'm not a fan of as well. He's very much a standard nice guy, if you know what I mean, and that's not really my sort of vibe. I think the grey jumper is very ugly. The blacksmith apron is terrible. The beard doesn't really work for me as well. I think the moustache is a bit too overgrown for his face. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of Clint's design, like, in the slightest. He just looks devious. And I suppose he kind of is. He has that thing for Emily in the game, if my memory's correct. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Clint's design in the slightest. I guess to improve it, make the beard a bit neater. Change the jumper from that ugly grey, maybe a nice blue, some warm greens, maybe a purple would be quite cool. I suppose he does also break up, I understand that he's the blacksmith, but he does also break up all of our sort of ores for us. He gets the diamonds or rubies, anything from the little geodes that we give him. So maybe something jewel-like-esque could work for it there. But yeah, not a fan of Clint's design, to be perfectly honest with you. Now, Demetrius is just sweet and simple. Haircut fits him incredibly well. It's a bit boxy, it's his whole design, but again, it works. The blue sort of cardigan slash shirt, I think it's a shirt. Yeah, it's simple. He's a man of science, isn't he? He's not bothered about looking the flashes. He's looking for something practical to get the job done, and I think he smashes it. Big fan of the blues on him. I think it works incredibly well, for especially a skin tone as well. It works very, very well. Now, my next picture is the Dwarf. For those of you who either haven't played the game or aren't familiar with the Dwarf is essentially this thing you find in the cave you explore in the mines, and then get you like I believe he gives you like different discounts of things or different items. Anyways, I don't know why he's here in the pictures that I've got. I essentially went to Stardew Valley Wiki and just downloaded all the main characters, and somehow he's one of them. He reminds me of a Jawa from the Star Wars games, and he kind of acts like a Jawa from the Star Wars games. So you know what, S tier design, can't go wrong. No, I'm joking. I don't know why it's tier. Considering it's a dwarf, I would have liked to have actually seen dwarf features. If they made him more like Gimli from Lord of the Rings, I think that would be really, really cool. I guess he's supposed to be like this underground dwarf, I guess, but whatever. I feel it's a little bit of a missed opportunity to just have him be in a hood and just be like a mock-up Jawa. If we made him like a properly fleshed out, that would have been pretty cool, but that's just my opinion. Now, Elliott. Pretentious bastard, however, his character design is like peak. I'm such a big fan of the wavy long hair. I love the Victorian dress sense he's got going on as well. The bright red jacket, the green tie that works quite nicely, the shirt around the collar. I'm a massive fan of Elliott's design. He does remind me a lot of all the performative male stuff that's going on right now. If any of you have seen the TikToks or the Reels and stuff, he does remind me of one of those. He does seem to... He definitely drinks match, not because he likes it, but to show off about it. And he definitely reads Jane Austen, again, just to show off about it and not shut up about it. But I think his design is like peak. I'm a massive fan of Elliott's design. It's super cool. It's also just funny because it's Elliott. That's why it's so cool. He lives in this beach house and he comes out proper prim and proper in a lovely Victorian fashion. So yeah, very, very cool. Big fan. Emily's here. I think Emily's design is what I'd like Clint's design to be, in a sort of roundabout weird way. I love the contrast between the blue and the red. I think it works fantastically well. Her eyes being purple are brilliant too. It's very simple, but it works really well. I mean, that's a common theme throughout Stardew Valley. They don't overcomplicate things. They just keep it nice and simple, and it works wonders. I think the design suits her character as well fantastically. Yeah, again, it's just another top tier design. Evelyn's up next now. I'm a big fan of the cardigan she's got on. It's very homely. It's very on theme with the game. I think the grey hair tied back up as well works really nicely. I mean, Evelyn's this sweet grandma, and the style choices really reflect that too. There's nothing untowards about her look. This is Evelyn. She's a sweet grandma. You're gonna like her. There we are, and that's pretty cool. And her favourite gift is diamonds too. So bonus point to Evelyn. Diamonds are a girl's best friend, according to Stardew Valley. So I think diamonds are everyone's best friend. So I'll give him some diamonds. I would also be over the moon as well. And then we've got George. I really fucking hate George's design. I'm not a fan, like, at all. I know he's a grumpy old man, but this is where, similar to Alex, this is where green just does not work for me at all. I really dislike the teal sort of jumper, and I don't like the green over jacket too. I think if they modelled George a bit more after Evelyn in terms of more homely, I know that he's a grumpy old man. I know that's his whole sort of thing. I get it. You know, I understand. But I really fucking hate this design. I despise this one. Yeah, improvements, just like make it a bit more homely. But again, I do see where they're coming from, where they've got to make him a bit gruffish, and his design does reflect that. So I get it, but I also don't like it. So yeah, there we are. Now, Gus. Gus reminds me of Mario just so much. It's a cross between Mario and Gustavo Fring from Breaking Bad, and that's how I think of Gus from Stardew Valley. I think the design's really, really cool. I like the mustache quite a lot. I like the gold jacket with the blue sort of cuts in it, and I like the blue sweater underneath it. That's very much, this guy owns a bar. He's a nice guy. I think Gus' design is pretty cool. I don't think it's the best design in Stardew Valley, but I think it still fits that homely aesthetic the whole game's sort of going for, and I'm quite a big fan of that. So yeah, there we are. Now, Hayley. I think Hayley's design works very well within herself. So the blonde hair is obviously very cool. Also the blue eyes, the blue pendant, and the blue top makes just a lovely contrast with the hair. I think it's in line with her character, but in terms of the rest of the designs, though, I don't think Hayley's is that fantastic. I think it's cool. I think it's nice. I just don't think it's as good as some of the design we've seen so far. Like I say, it is intrinsic to her. It works well with her character. I just think the design itself is not amazing, personally. I know that might be a little bit controversial. I mean, I like Hayley as a character. I think her design is nice. I just don't think there's anything like too good or too bad to say about it. It's a nice middle line. for designs in this game. So yeah. And then you've got Harvey. Now, I like Harvey. I just think he's like incredibly useless as a character in this game. Like, he's a doctor if my memory is correct. His design works incredibly well for him. The brown tie, the shirt, the green jacket, but like a nice warm green, the mustache, the glasses, the hair swept to the side. It's all very Harvey. And the design itself overall is okay, but because it's Harvey, I think it just bumps it up so much more. Like, they've designed him perfectly. This is how I'd imagine, if I'd just been described Harvey's personality traits in the game, this is what I'd imagine him to look like, and they smashed that completely out of the park. Then you've got Jazz. Again, the purples are very cool, and the green bow at the top is a nice contrast to her design too, especially with the blue eyes. Not much else to say about it really, it's just a decent little design. You've then got Jodi. I don't think you really see too much Jodi within the game, but I think her design is just really good. Again, it's that simple, homely feel that the game sort of goes for, and in characters like Jodi, they just execute it perfectly. I'm a really big fan of the pink-purple sweater. I don't think we've seen too much of that yet, apart from Abigail. She's the only one who sort of wears pink and purple that we've seen so far. I like the auburn hair, especially the ponytail sort of sweeping down onto the shoulder too, with the nice blue ribbon in it as well. I believe she's a mum in the game, and this is like a really good like mum design. So yeah, again, they did really, really well with that one. And then you've got Kent. Ken reminds me of a cross between Brock and Lieutenant Surge from Pokemon Red and Blue. I think the design is like really mid, but I think the spiky hair, it just reminds me of Pokemon. It's okay. I mean, he's even got like the electric badge on his shoulder. So yeah, this just really reminds me of Pokemon. I don't have any strong opinions on Kent. He's just there, but it's Kent. What can I say? One thing though, I do like the design of the jacket. I think the buttons down the side and the little pop collar at the back does work really nicely. Apart from that, I have nothing else to say about Kent. Once again, just with the Dwarf, I now have Krobus staring me at my screen. I have absolutely nothing, no notes about him because I don't know anything good or bad to say. He reminds me of the ghost in Undertale. Nabstabuk, I think he's called. He just reminds me of that, and I think Nabstabuk's design is pretty peak. Krobus is what's underneath the sheet of Nabstabuk, is how I describe it. So, yeah, this is the exoskeleton. Honestly, you try and find me something to say about Krobus' design. I can't think of anything here. He's got the little tuft at the top, and that's kind of it. Leah is, say it with me, peak. Oh, big fan of this design. The ginger hair sweeping downwards, the greens, green and ginger work incredibly well. Just got Poison Ivy as a perfect example of that. I think the design is fantastic for her character as well. She works out in the forest, she's a woodworker, she makes sculptures. I think it's brilliant. When I think of Stardew Valley, I think of like Leah's design, is how I sort of envision this. I think one of the best designed characters in the entire game, because it's just so simple, but it works incredibly well. Then we've got Leo. In a strange way, I think Leo's design is also like fantastic too. The spiky hair at the top, plus the really spiky top he's got going on too, and like the little smile. I think this is a really endearing design. I don't think I ever played this far, but I believe he ends up on one of the islands that you end up going to, and he's just there, and he's like super cool. So yeah, I think the design is also really cool. I don't know if I describe him on the main cast, but I think just based on this, I think he's top tier. Like you got to look at him and you just start smiling because it's just a really cool design. I also like the interweaving of colours, like the red to the yellow to the blue to the green. I think it just works really well. There's nothing else to really say on that. Then you've got Lewis. Again, Lewis is again another mid design for me. Like the flat cap's cool, the handlebar mustache is there. I'm not a fan of the either suspended or slacks, I don't know what they're called. And again, the green for me is just a bit too harsh. If Lewis wasn't the mayor and he's always ending up in our lives, he would probably be the most unforgettable character just based on his design. Yeah, I'm not a fan at all of Lewis' design. You know, you might disagree with me here, but he just doesn't do it for me. I'm just not a fan. I don't know what to say really. I think Lion's design is just quite cool. I'm a big fan of like the feathery gold top he's got going on. And the beard, although it's bushy, I think works nicely for his character, plus the little middle parting for the hair. Linus is just a sweet old man. I think the design just reflects that really nicely. Marnie, again, same with Leah. When I think of Stardew Valley, I think of Marnie's design. I think her working on a farmhouse and having the oranges, the greens and the reds sort of mixed together, plus her brown eyes, just makes her a really nicely designed character. I'm also quite a big fan of the green ribbon in her hair. I think that works incredibly well for her too. Yeah, I do think if this was a tier list, Leah and Marnie would definitely be in the top tiers for this, just because their designs are just like incredibly peak. If you can't tell, I'm a big fan of warm greens and a big fan of browns, and that's like the whole design palette they've got going on here. Top tier. Then you've got Maru. Now, you can just tell she's Demetrius' daughter straight away based on the blue she's got going on there. Very sciencey. I'm a big fan of the glasses matching the hair, which is pretty cool, and the little side middle parting, whatever's going on there. Yeah, I think I think this suits her sciencey vibe. She's into her crystals, from my memory is correct. Purple also works really nicely on her too. I mean, purple's kind of a theme in her family. We've not gotten to Sebastian yet, but you've got Demetrius with the blues. Obviously, Robin's got her role different thing going on, but again, we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, I'm a big fan of purple in this game, if you can't tell. Also, the little gold on these suspended is pretty cool too. A nice little homage to the fact that she's into her minerals. Yeah, pretty cool design. Then you've got Pam. You know, I used to work on buses. Pam reminds me of like most bus drivers that I know. And considering that she is a bus driver in the game, this suits it incredibly well. I really dislike the pink cardigan, and I'm not a fan of the pink eyeshadow, just personally. I think the magenta eyes are kind of cool. The hair's giving me like Dolly Parton sort of vibes. I'd say it's a pretty low tier design. I just think Pam's quite forgettable just as a character in general in the game, and her design does not help that in the slightest. Then you've got Penny. Penny's just like the sweet school teacher. The ginger hair ending up in the little curls at the bottom there. The nice gold top, the green eyes, it all works really nicely for her character. And I say it all suits her. She's supposed to be this quiet, reserved school teacher, and her design sort of reflects that. I don't know if Penny's design is as strong as Leah's or Marnie's, but I do think it's pretty up there though. Like, it's a pretty cool design. I like the green in her eyes and in the earring side there. I think the gold does work quite nicely for her too, so pretty cool. Then you've got Pierre. Again, when I think of a shop worker, I think same with Harvey. If you had to describe Pierre to me, I would think of what he's wearing right now. I'm a really big fan of his jacket matching his hair and the rims of his glasses too. And I do like the little blue top that he's got going underneath that too. I think he's super cool. I think Pierre being like a little sort of local shop owner and wearing these browns and these sort of simple colours works nicely too. Especially when compared to, I think it's Morris, who's not on this list, but Morris is very ostentatious. He's wearing a suit and all of that, and he's just chilling for a corporation. Pierre keeping it simple, keeping it nice, and having a design that it just suits him incredibly well, and suits the entire town really well too. So yeah, what more can I say? Then we get to Robin, one of the best designed characters I would say in this game, hands down. I'm a huge fan of the sort of gilet she's got going on there. It's very much giving me like cashmere sort of vibes, even though obviously she wouldn't wear cashmere because it's Stardew Valley. I'm a big fan of the gold top. Ginger hair and the green eyes obviously works really well. We've seen that already with Leah. I think Robin is peak design for, I'd say, for this game. And you cannot convince me otherwise. This is like a solid design. Also, the fact that Robin just sort of helps you as you go on with the game is like super cool. Like, you're almost sort of taken into her family in a way. Yeah, I just think a design that suits really well. I'm a big fan of this one. Robin, Marnie and Leah for me are some like top 3 designs in the entire game. Although you might see top 4 depending if we get there or not. And you got Sam. Sam just reminds me of like a Yu-Gi-Oh character. Like, the hair is just giving me that. He looks like he's gonna like throw down a duel with me. I think Sam's design is quite comical. I'm a big fan. It makes me smile, but it's very comical. It's the anime hair with the gold top and like the blue popped collar jacket here. It's literally giving a mix of Seto Kaiba and Yu-Gi-Moto from the original Yu-Gi-Oh series. I think it's cool. You know, I gotta respect it. I don't think it's amazing, but I just think it's quite cool. So Sam, you get bonus points for that. Then you've got Sandy. It's giving me sort of Ursaluna sort of, not Ursaluna, that's a Pokemon. It's giving me Ursula sort of vibes from The Little Mermaid, but I guess a bit less malicious. Her hair reminds me of coral, and her earring, her headband and her scarf remind me of the sea, so I guess it works out on that sort of vibe too. But yeah, I think it's an okay design. I think it suits her, as in most designs in this thing, it suits the character. But yeah, I don't really know what to say really. Sandy, I don't think I've connected that much with Sandy in the game. So yeah, I guess it's just like an okay design, it's decent. Now Sebastian is like My Chemical Romance personified. He's got the emo sort of hair down here, the black hoodie, the eyes staring deeply into your soul. I love Sebastian. Whenever I play Stardew Valley, Sebastian's definitely one of those people that I friendship meter goes super high with that. he's just like the emo kid who likes motorbikes, and his design is like super peak. Yeah, big fan of Sebastian design, big fan of Sebastian's character too. Yeah, I have nothing else to really say. I just think the design is like super cool and just suits him really, really well. Also, the same with Abigail. It's a very individualistic character design within the entire town of Stardew Valley. Like, her and Abigail, like him and Abigail are the two people which pull off these darker tones, but just sort of still fit the aesthetic, even though they're kind of outcast in their own sort of right. So yeah, I've got to respect it. Then you have Shane. Now, for me, Shane is quite an interesting one to sort of see whether I like his design or not. You know, obviously Shane is not the most mentally stable in the game, and the haphazardness of his design does reflect that. I don't think the design is necessarily good, but I think it suits him. Same with a few other people on this list. I think it does the job for the character that you want it to, even if I don't particularly like the design. That's how I'd probably best just going to describe it. So yeah, I guess I highlight the blue jumper's kind of cool, but that's kind of it. I'm not a fan, but it works for him, and that's all that really matters for the game's purposes, I suppose. Vincent, I don't really have anything to say. The wide-eye look he's given me is a little bit strange. The hair toss are cool, and the simple t-shirt with the stripe is kind of cool. Again, same with Jazz, not much else to really say on Vincent, to be honest with you. Willy, now, in common across stuff this video, I've seen too much fan art of Willy that I'm not going to show on the screen. But yeah, his actual design, again, he's a fisherman. I'm a big fan of the red jumper, I do like that. That's kind of it really for what I like about the design. The hat just doesn't do it for me, it's a little bit minging. I know it suits him with a fisherman, he's out there and all that. I'm just not personally a fan. So yeah, Willy, I'm sorry. I know the people love you. I personally am not a massive fan. And then finally we have the wizard. Now the wizard is, let me say it, peak design. I think he's super cool. I'm a massive fan of the purples. We had purple and black at the start of this list. We're ending this list with purple and black. I think the wizard is just like super cool. He's very brooding, he's very foreboding. He just reminds me of like a Lord of the Rings character, and I'm a massive fan of Lord of the Rings. I'm also a super fan of the cowboy hat with the little seal on top. I think that's really cool. And the little purple thing around the band too. So yeah, the wizard for me, a top tier character design. I'm a massive fan of it. So that's kind of all the designs I'm going to go through for today. I hope you enjoyed this sort of more unstructured / chilled out sort of video. If there's anything else you want us to see, please let me know in the comments below. And yeah, thank you very much for your time, folks. Take care. I'll see you next time. Peace.